And it
We
looks
are
like we are
live.
live. All right. Welcome to episode 90 of the Game and Talk podcast here on Nuke the Fridge Gaming. We're going to be talking about Xbox today, specifically Microsoft and their E3 conference. As usual, I am joined by my friends here, Crystal Castillo.
Hi guys, lead editor of Nuke the Fridge Gaming. And then Alan, you are writer, and Kyle, tell us about yourself
My
while you're
beautiful
looking at
boy,
stuff.
Kyle.
Hola, I am also a writer at Nuke the Fridge Gaming, and today I am just so excited to be talking about the Xbox E3 press conference with you all.
The
We had
Expo.
to get the right conjunction here. If we had too many people on one side and the others, we had too many people saying they wanted to wait for it on the Switch instead, the ratio would be off. So
Yep.
I think we got a good balance here. We got a good mix. There's gonna be some feng shui going. I can feel it. But
Technically, you guys. I know you guys wanted this to be the Nintendo
yes.
episode, but then we wanted to wait for
Let's
Joey.
be honest. I just wanted to be the Nintendo episode to stick it to Joey.
I know.
He said he couldn't make it. I wanted to make a Nintendo. It's fine, though. I understand. So next week, we're going to be talking about Nintendo right before the big event.
Well, this week. We'll probably do it later this week.
Oh, yeah, that's
Not
right. It's Monday. It feels like a Sunday right now. That's why.
It's because, I was in Vegas all weekend.
Why were you in Vegas?
I was there for Double or Nothing. I know you were supposed to come with me.
I was, but I got to watch it at home like an average person, but dang, it was such an experience, dude. I can't even imagine how it would have been being there live, so...
It was crazy, especially at StarCast. What have you been doing this weekend, Kyle?
This week I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves. I've been tearing that game up with the new anniversary update still. So
You filthy casual.
yes, I'm a filthy casual that spends over 40 hours a week playing that game.
You didn't even know it was the Great White or the killer whale.
The killer whale.
No, there's
The
a guy.
killer whale. That's from Kingdom Hearts, right? Pinocchio World.
Oh, totally.
Somebody made fun of Kyle earlier, and we defended him. So there you are. If you're watching this, go somewhere else. So what did you play? Did you play anything while you were over there in Vegas, or were you just?
Since the 4-hour trip, I played some NES classic titles. I just wanted to beat them, just to get them out of the way. Some Chocobo Dungeon and some Capcom beat 'em up. That's all I really played.
Good pick. I was gonna mention something about the NES collection when we were talking about it recently. I feel like there's not enough RPGs in there from the NES days.
No, there's just like not even one. I think right there.
I thought there would be at least a Final Fantasy in there.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I was
ridiculous.
expecting like a Dragon Warrior or Final Fantasy. Anything other than the lame 2 titles we've been getting for the most part.
A Dragon Quest, a Final Fantasy, any of those. So we'll talk about that more later on in the week when we're talking about Nintendo and hopefully...
And Earthbound Beginnings.
Earthbound Beginnings! It's ridiculous. Okay, Nintendo, no. Okay, we're getting sidetracked. And we gotta
hold on. Have you been playing anything? Well, no. Kyle said he's playing Sea of Thieves. How about you, Alan?
I've actually been spending almost 95% of my time playing Final Fantasy XIV ahead of their DLC Shadowbringers, trying to catch up to everything because I'm still in the base game. I finished the base game last night. I felt amazing, and now I feel terrible because I only had 3 hours of sleep. So
you're playing an online MMORPG? Yeah, you dirty, filthy casual.
It's crazy. I never looked at myself thought, oh man, Alan in 2 years, 24-year-old Alan, what is he gonna do? He's gonna be stuck until 8 a.m. playing Final Fantasy.
Do you remember when that game first came out and everybody was just crapping all over it?
It was dude. I remember how bad it was. It was
not a successful relaunch, though. Oh my goodness!
Talk about a return, like a character development right there, a redemption arc. Final Fantasy XIV Online, one of my favorite experiences when it comes to MMORPGs. Fantastic. And probably reviewing Shadowbringers.
All right, since we were talking about Nintendo earlier, all right, make sure we'll be able to get that for you. But since we were talking about Nintendo a little bit, this won't be the Nintendo theme episode. But Kyle, you wrote up some news that was announced earlier today. You want to share that quick?
For the Sword and Shield announcement?
Yeah.
So we got a Nintendo Direct coming on the 5th of June, so just days before the Nintendo E3 Direct press conference, whatever you want to call it. But they haven't really said anything, but I'm sure we can expect New Pokemon announced, at least the evolutions of all 3 starters that they've shown off so far. Then we're gonna more than likely get a release date. And what was the other thing? Oh, we're gonna find out more about like the lore of the world. Of course, we saw in the teaser trailer the stadium. It looked like a football or American soccer if you're a casual stadium for these Pokemon battles. So we're gonna find out what that's all about. But yeah, all that info is coming on the 5th of June, and that's
15 minutes long, I believe it said, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes long, 4 days before the E3 press conference, 4 days before E3. So I'm sure it's going to be playable at E3. So
This
we're going to
is
see a
big
lot
news.
of gameplay.
This is great, only because that means it's a 15-minute video just on Pokemon, meaning the Nintendo Direct won't be focusing on that. And we all expected a good amount of time going to that. So that means they can focus on everything else.
And not to mention, if you remember last year, a year ago tonight, we had that big info dump from the Nintendo Insider Business press conference where Let's Go was shown off for the first time. So that's happening tonight in Japan. So maybe I can't remember if we'll start seeing stuff in the morning or later on tomorrow.
Possibly around midnight or so, I would believe.
So we're going to get a lot of like the business side of things, and like the really easy. We're going to get the mechanical stuff, probably
financial talk.
Right, exactly, and
statistical analysis and stuff like that.
Exactly.
This is gonna be interesting because the Direct, we just had Detective Pikachu, so all eyes are on Pokemon right now.
Exactly.
So with this game, with the 15-minute Direct, it makes sense. We have a live conference, like they said, they announced it. So we got a live Pokemon conference happening soon, just right before Pokemon Nintendo Direct. And then we got the E3 Direct, which will be focusing all eyes on probably later on in the week. Pokemon, though, that's big news for its own separate thing. Usually we get it around this time.
Yeah. Something that was quite interesting is I'll kind of switch into this. I'm going to forget about this, and I know you've been talking about Nintendo, but did you guys hear about Square Enix?
No, what about it?
Did you hear about their time slot for E3?
No, what is it?
Like 30 minutes?
No. They're taking Sony's old slot. They're taking the 6 p.m. slot.
That's interesting. The primetime slot.
Yes, so they're doing it. That's quite interesting because they did it last year. I think like right before the Ubisoft press conference.
Yeah, that was like 7 p.m.
No, that was like noon.
Or was it Bethesda?
They were like Bethesda was like 7.
You came back with In-N-Out.
I brought you guys In-N-Out, yeah. But no, Ubi was like at 1, I think 1 or 3, and not that long after that was Square, and that was a disappointing one. But this year,
that's kind
of looks like they're going big.
That's a ballsy move if you go from having arguably the worst conference of the entire year last year to we're taking over Sony's spot. That means we might have some insider on Marvel. We might get some
Avengers Project.
The Avenger Project would be amazing to finally know what's happening. And then Final Fantasy VII, of course. I feel like we're probably going to get one of those demonstration kind of things. But
there is rumors, though. There are rumors that they're going to be showing off a new, a familiar IP reimagined or remastered.
Yeah.
Okay, so
talk about all eyes on something, like you mentioned, all eyes on Pokemon.
All eyes on me.
All eyes on Marvel right now too. You just had Endgame. You have Ultimate Alliance 3 coming out in July. Avengers Project has to be announced at least. Even if it doesn't come out this year, it has to be announced. It's been 3 years since they've talked about it.
Let's just say this. The last time we've seen a Marvel title kind of thing, it didn't work too well for them. Or specifically, did not work well for Capcom. Because they tried to rush that out, and it turned out looking terrible.
Well, no, the last Marvel project that we saw was
Ultimate Alliance.
Spider-Man.
Oh, that too. So,
okay, I lied. The last one we actually heard of was Marvel's Iron Man, which looks promising.
Man, there's so many Marvel games.
Marvel's Spider-Man, obviously, it made Kyle buy a PS4.
It did. Well, technically, it got me to buy the PS4, but
so yeah. There's still a lot of incoming news and leaks and spoilers and things like that. The closer we get to the convention, the closer we get to E3, and it's wild. It's like cowboy times whenever it comes through. So one of the biggest things we want to focus on this week was a specific NeoGAF, I believe. Yeah, a NeoGAF person named Braldir. I'm probably cutting it or butchering it. But they apparently have inside knowledge knowing that the Xbox conference is going to have a lot of reveals this year, especially since they extended the conference by 20 minutes compared to last year, which means a lot more news, a lot more info dumps. And we're going to go through the list of what he did because it's pretty meaty.
Well, before anything, we have to say none of this is confirmed. Not all this might be happening. This is all take all this for a grain of salt. But he has some. He's predicted a couple things correctly before.
He's had weight, yes.
So these are things that we can look forward to. Some of it we kind of knew was coming, so it's not incorrect. Yeah. But we'll talk about everything.
Right, literally, like 70% of the stuff was already confirmed. It's just more of like details on what we're gonna see at E3. But I'm sure we'll get into it. But like Halo Infinite, duh! Like, come on, that was gonna be that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Info dump, new trailer, plus holiday 2020 release.
Right.
That's what we're thinking. Don't take this as, oh my gosh, we have insider knowledge that this is true. Treat it more like fantasy booking. We're looking at this and thinking what would happen if this does happen, how reactions would probably go about with this, what kind of thing would break the internet. There are plenty of things in this.
And we'll be mixing in our own theories and ideas with this. This isn't
this is a prediction series. That's what we do.
But Alan,
I'm going down this list only to say like, hey, this is what this guy predicted. This is just a really convenient template for us to use and say, okay, well, this is what we'll be talking about because this is what everyone wants, really.
Yeah, like the shirt, by the way. What were you saying, Chris?
I was going back to what you were saying about God damn it. Can't make me forget, but talking about like this being like the prediction, the all-star kind of thing. I'm like, does that make Microsoft John Cena or Roman Reigns?
Ooh, that's a tough one because you got to decide which one's out of the two, PlayStation and Sony, which one's John Cena, which one's Roman Reigns.
Xbox show up in a while, so I'm going to say John Cena.
Yeah, because last year Microsoft had solid. Yeah, I know, but Microsoft had a solid press conference. It wasn't amazing.
I think it had solid surprises.
It was definitely the best of the big three, for sure.
Sony definitely fumbled, and that's kind of why they disappeared because they had. I'm guessing the reason.
I don't think that's not the reason why they disappeared. They've had good ones, they've had bad ones. They just probably don't have too much to announce to want to spend those millions of dollars at E3 when they can probably do it at Sony, their own PlayStation experience.
If they cut down on the live performances of random instruments and guys in dresses, they'd cut their costs in a quarter probably.
I think it'd be about the same. I think that renting that space they used switching those places was a pain in the butt for them.
Yeah.
But with this, they're kind of more focused on they can just keep all the news towards PlayStation 5 if they do make that announcement over at the PlayStation Experience.
Well, they realize now with the growing like streaming and stuff like that, people like how many people watch the PlayStation State of Play? It was like I think it like peaked at like 200,000 people watching it once. Like probably way more than that, honestly.
Right.
So they realized like digital events are still as profitable as just being there personally because now the internet itself is literally just catches a buzz immediately. So you could just drop something like let's say EW, for example. John Moxley is still trending on top of Twitter after 2 days. And it's
but this is completely different because word of mouth is great and all that, but they have to put it in people's hands. They want to see the graphics in person and all that. This is where news media and everything goes to. You could share the John Moxley video, everything, but when you get a game into people's hands, showing the PS5, it's a different story.
Right.
And for this, doing it exclusively to PlayStation Experience drives more sales, more people going from out of state, out of country to come check out the PS5 stuff.
Very true.
It just, I don't want to say it opposes word of mouth. It multiplies word of mouth because then you get that game in someone's hand and they're like, dude, I played this great game. It's coming out this October. You're going to love it because it's exactly like the game we were talking about the other day. And they start a whole conversation about it because that person got to play it.
It's a mixed bag because like E3, like I said, they're toning down on giving, media and influencers any sort of like leeway when it comes to having relationships during the E3 Expo.
But it's only E3 though. If you're still looking at like PAX and everything, they're still very
amazing to go to.
They're still very, very favorite to press. So that's not an issue.
That's really good.
The biggest thing is you're looking at E3 where Sony's still going to be there, just not in the same capacity. You're going to be seeing Capcom, Bandai Namco, Ubisoft, everybody still running games on PlayStation 4s, Xbox Ones, PCs, everything. So Sony's still going to be there in a capacity, but just not the capacity we're used to. Where last year I wasn't spending a lot of time at the Sony booth. I did
I
not
think
really
it was because
spend that much time there.
They had little tiny cubicles for VR and then just Spider-Man.
Well, they had a bunch of games on the floor, but you still went to any other booth and you'd still be playing it on a PlayStation 4. So really, I don't see anything too negative about it. Yes, it does suck, but now the expectation is there for them to do something at their own PlayStation experience. And you know what? I expect Microsoft to do the same more down the line, because they're not using the Microsoft Center this year, right?
I think they are for the Xbox Game Fest or whatever they're doing, because
they're doing the Game Fest. Yeah,
they're doing the Game Fest again. And I was going to say, I think I want to argue with you on that one, because I think they're doing the opposite. They're embracing E3, the fact that they're able to just loom over the entire convention now. They have their own theater right across the hall where they can invite a bunch of fans. That's where they can get more people in the hands,
Yeah.
It's a way bigger hands-on. They're marketing very well, where they have exclusive merch. They know what's up when it comes to merch. You could ask Kyle. Kyle spent like $300 last year on it.
I got this set right there.
Yeah, he's wearing it right now. So Xbox knows what it's doing. It's steering towards what everybody is trying to dip away from. It's like, oh no, I don't want. We're gonna stay away from E3 this year. We're gonna have a social online presence, and then our third parties are gonna do the job. And then Xbox is just like, well, okay, I'll take over, and I'll just,
Well, remember, Microsoft wasn't technically on the E3 floor last year either, so they kind of stepped away in their own capacity. Yeah, really they were still over at the Microsoft Center. So it's just companies trying to evolve.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's just companies trying to change things up
or grow with the times, or I would even say, like, I want to say take advantage of a tricky situation, because it's really smart that they use their own building instead of paying millions of dollars to have their own presence inside the convention. They're literally right across the street. It's so genius.
And they had, if you think about it, they had the Mixer booth in the E3 hall. So if anyone didn't know what Mixer was, they would just be like, oh, well, we have the entire Xbox stadium across the street. They have the most space reserved out of any other studio, because that building is 3 stories, if I'm not mistaken.
You guys got to Fan Fest last year, right?
Yeah.
Because none of us got into it, so
yeah. Oh, sorry, I did not get in.
But remember, I went to the. Because I only went yesterday. Yesterday, last year, for the press conference, because it was there. So you guys were there for the press. No, you guys didn't get.
No,
Joey and I were but you can check it out if you didn't have to get invited.
Joey and I were there with you, except not as close. Okay. But but they had the first floor reserved for just exclusively merchandise.
Yeah, you were upstairs. I know.
There were some booths that were available for games. Like, I think I remember a couple stations for Sea of Thieves down there. Ori was playable there. But then upstairs was just like everything else that they had available. So they have a lot of space that I'm sure they're going to utilize. I don't think they're going to even. I don't think they'll have any short supply of space for the games they're about to announce, is what I'm saying.
All right. But before we dive in, I just want to mention...
you said Mixer was there last year, right?
Yeah.
God damn it. You're killing my joke, Alan.
I'm sorry.
So you mean, wait, that's Microsoft owned? I thought it was alcoholic. I thought you could buy boozer. My bad.
Ooh, yeah, that was bad.
You killed my joke. You killed the timing, Alan. You killed the timing.
You threw off my groove. Okay, but before we go off the topic, I want to mention Kyle really just came out of the Microsoft building last year looking like he just won all the rides at the state fair. Like all the
Dude, I had like so many bags.
He had like 3 bags, and he was wearing like the shirt and the hat. He looks like he just got a sponsorship from Bill Gates himself. Okay, but yeah, that's why I'm kind of glad you're avoiding E3 this year, Kyle. I don't want you to go bankrupt.
Yeah,
so
I'll just order it online from scalpers.
he'll go bankrupt at Anime Expo. It's fine.
Oh, trust me, all of us are. So we're going to be going into the leaks, and there are a lot of them. So we're going to start with the most notable one, Halo Infinite. So this guy said,
we'll just go down in order.
So he says, info dump plus a new trailer, holiday 2020 release, cross-gen. And the more I look at that and the more I think about it, the more I think, yeah, that seems like the most plausible idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're about to do. I mean, and we'll come back to this later with the whole next generation Xbox too. But I think this will play perfectly well into their idea for what they have in store for the next Xbox.
Well, the other good thing about it too is that they're going to be implementing xCloud eventually, which is the perfect way for cross-gen to happen.
Right. So they've already said that xCloud is their main priority before the next console. So
right.
Yeah, so we'll be getting they've already confirmed we're getting xCloud this year. So they're going to be talking about that, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But they've already said public trials are starting very soon, so we'll get that. And I think this is just a great opportunity for them to say, "Hey, Halo Infinite is available right now on xCloud or Xbox One with it being a launch title with like better graphics or better frame rate or more features for the new Xbox." Or they could just do it at the same time too. Who really cares?
Yeah, I like that. Halo Infinite itself, though, I'm kind of I don't know if I'm iffy. I'm kind of just cautiously optimistic since Crackdown and a few of the other exclusives that kind of bombed, like Recore and stuff like that.
Right. The thing is, though, this is definitely Xbox.
Microsoft,
Well, more so 343, putting so many eggs in this basket. They haven't made a mainline Halo series since Halo 5, obviously, but they had a pattern of a Halo game every other year or every other 2 years, and they totally just let that go. They brought back, or they said Xbox told them, take as long as you want. You're going to make the best game you can. You're not restricted to the old engine anymore. Make your new engine, because that was a big thing. Like, think about how much trouble that put in for Fallout 76 to use the outdated engine and try and make a new game.
Yeah, that was kind of,
they
try to pull a majority. I'm sorry,
what?
what?
The reason we didn't have split screen gameplay was a lot of those technical holdbacks from the engine and from a lot of the issues in development there.
They tried to pull a Majora's Mask out
Right.
of it, where they had to try to get a game out within a year using the same exact engine and assets. And look where that ended up. I'm kind of glad, if that's the case for Halo Infinite, that you guys are that these guys are going to be taking their time. If that's the case, then I feel a lot better than or about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is them. I guarantee you that they're going to come out. Well, they're coming out swinging regardless. But in particular with Halo, they're going to really try and sell you the fact that they are a revamped studio, that they are a revamped game. That, I mean, they about 3 or 4 months ago, they did a Halo 5 developer stream where they were taking any questions on Halo Infinite, and they said, well, hey, we'll only answer what we can, but ask anything you want. And so they talked about RPG elements being introduced. They talked about split screen gameplay being 100% confirmed.
That's awesome.
That's coming back. Yeah. So like what the bread and butter of Halo is back, and that's enough alone, really.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think?
Oh man, so I'm like you. I'm optimistic on the game. I don't want to say anything until I get my hands on it. So right now I don't have too much to say. It sounds like I'm glad they're giving 343 more time to this game, because I don't want to see another Halo 5. I want them to take the time, make a really good story, add new elements to the game that'll make it a lot more enjoyable. Because the best part about Halo games are the multiplayer.
Yeah.
But I want a good offline experience at the same time.
Exactly.
I think the game needs to benefit from a really good synergy that basically rewards you for going through the story by feeling a lot more powerful, but not overpowering you to where you're just destroying people online. And that also goes hand in hand with like maps, and like you have like specific like map designs hopefully are really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they don't rely on old maps, and it's just a nostalgia piece. RPG elements being introduced would be really interesting, but I hope it doesn't become a microtransaction sort of issue.
Mm-hmm.
A
big criticism was that they didn't have. It's interesting you say that too, because like while I agree they shouldn't rely on old maps at all, one of the biggest criticisms was that they didn't have a lot, and a lot of the community in Forge made a remake of the maps, and then Halo was like, okay, well we'll get together and we'll make this happen. But yeah, I agree. Take a look at Bungie, what they're doing now with Destiny, and the troubles they're facing with gear and everything like that.
Yes.
The whole loop cycle is to get you to do the single player, or at least co-op story missions and
finish challenges, daily
right challenges, so you can get gear to then go and be a freaking Bamf in multiplayer.
Oh yeah,
but that's a huge struggle for Destiny right now that they can't really get that. But that's what drives online multiplayer games in general, is that you play the stuff on your own, so then you could take that to a competitive arena and fight it out.
yeah. So speaking of fifth titles and not really living up, I really hope Gears 5 lives up. Gears 5 is the next one on the list. They mentioned that there's going to be a full gameplay reveal / demo walkthrough, plus multiplayer, and September release date is indeed real. I knew about this before the leak even happened.
Yeah.
So that's what they said. And what do you guys think? September release date is kind of crazy, honestly. That's kind of very soon.
I mean, I believe it. They've
Not surprised. We knew it was either going to be Halo or Gears this year.
That's really, yeah.
I think we talked about that last year. It was going to be one of the two, because I would not want to see them release one of these top two in the same year.
That's actually, yeah, I can see
sure
that. Overloading fans on how many games you need to buy per year is another thing. And I like that where it's kind of hand in hand with some companies where they're like, okay, we know you're about to drop like 4 games this month, so we're going to have ours in December.
Yeah.
Cool.
But, I mean, we're already getting 2 Gears games this year.
I thought it was like 3 by now. It was like Gears Tactics, Gears.
I mean, if you count the Pops game, I'm pretty sure that was confirmed to be a mobile game. So
yeah,
so I mean, completely different market.
It's a mobile game, so there's
yeah. Well, it should be taken seriously, but it is still another market.
I think. Okay, is there anything you want out of Gears 5? Is there anything you expect? Like, I don't know if you guys played any of the other ones, or if there are like any specific modes or types of things you'd want to see in it, story wise, or any.
I just want to. I mean, I've played a few of the Gears games. I have not played all of them.
All right.
But something after Gears 4 that I really wanted was a return to the esports competitive multiplayer scene. But that's really a gripe I'll give to any game, is that I want a bigger, more fantastic production of that. But Gears 4 just really did not have a competitive scene, which is sad because a lot of the game modes that we thrive off of in multiplayer shooters started with Gears.
Yes.
So I played the original 3 Gears game back Xbox.
Which one was your favorite?
And probably Gears 2.
Good call. Same here.
Because me and my buddy would I'd buy the game. He didn't have an Xbox. He'd just come over, and we'd spend like 16 hours just playing the game on every single mode, just going through it, having so much fun.
I
did not have that same. I did not have that same feeling with Gears 4.
Yeah. Same.
Gears 4 felt so. Yeah, it did not have that, and I did not buy Gears 4 until like maybe 5-6 months later when it was on sale for $20 with the original 3 games as a free download. Because when it originally came out, you're like, oh, you're also getting 1, 2, and 3, and I forgot the other one. Yeah, but it's like you're getting these for free. I was like, okay, cool. I don't have my original Xbox. I just don't mind having it. Okay, cool.
Oh.
I played 1, 2, and 3. I didn't even really touch 4.
2.
I can't really say what I want to see more. I love the original team more than anything else. I was sad when obviously they killed Dom in 3, but I wanted to see something great for 4. I did not care for how they wrote the story for it. Did not feel as interesting as 1, 2, and 3 did. So hopefully they bring back that level of action.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that they kind of find a way to like fuse some new element into something that kind of changes the way you play it, and it's like it kind of adds to what it used to be. I personally want to see a horde mode that's somehow amplified by 10, because horde mode I feel was the greatest version of firefight in almost any game, period. You had the chainsaw, you had all these other abilities. It felt like you were playing chess at the same time you're playing this crazy shooter. So maybe they could do some new thing, or maybe there's like an actual reason to play it for like online. So it'd be cool. I think that would probably be my favorite thing to play in it. So Gears 5, cool. And then as well as Gears Tactics. Yep, that one looks really nice.
Actually, I'm really excited for that one, mostly because Mario vs. Rabbids got me into the tactic genre.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm honestly not that excited for this one. I don't know. I think only because it makes me think of Halo Wars.
Yeah.
I know it's not the same exact thing, but I just have that feeling it's gonna lead into something similar. And Halo Wars was just terrible to me, even though I know that was a strategy rather than tactics.
I was gonna say, Halo Wars
2.
has a really good following, but I mean, it's not for me, so I kind of understand where you're coming from. It's
Yeah.
not really my cup of tea, but that game especially 2, did really well.
Yeah. Well, I think they tried to do some sort of special deal with it. I remember it being like a really big deal because it was on PC and Xbox. So that was one of the introduction games with the PC play anywhere kind of deal. So that might have been a thing. I don't know. Gears Tactics, it looks cool. Like you said, Mario Rabbids definitely helped lay the groundwork for people to be introduced to it in a simple way. Maybe Gears Tactics takes it to the next level. The next game, or so it says new trailer.
Well, that's supposed to be
release date for PC later.
Yeah, go finish that up.
So later this year, we'll see it on PC. That sounds plausible. Maybe November, I feel, even October. Maybe even goes hand in hand with Gears 5. Who knows?
Could be.
So
and then I know you're excited for this one.
We're not even going to spend all too much time on this because if you haven't played it, the first one, then you go out and play it, and then you come back and watch this.
Yeah.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. We're finally going to get the final trailer, and the release date for later this year. I have been waiting for this game for so long. I marked out at the Denny's right across the street from the convention watching the conference. Mm-hmm. Everything about it looks amazing, and if you haven't played the first game yet, I'm going to throat punch you. So go play it. It's good. Next up, we have Bleeding Edge, and you may not have heard of it, but it is Ninja Theory's next game. If you remember, Ninja Theory was acquired by Xbox last year, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
They acquired them. That was crazy, and they're apparently going to be acquiring more people. But before I get ahead, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the post says, I'm hearing two conflicting reports, one stating that it's a co-op horde-like sci-fi shooter with aliens across different planets and intense boss fights, and another that it's an arena multiplayer PvP. Have no 100% confirmation yet on what exactly it is. One thing for sure, that it is indeed a game in a sci-fi universe and most likely a cross-gen title for 2020. That sounds about right. It sounds like he's got so many conflicting reports that I don't know if I could trust it, but it sounds like something up their alley.
Yeah.
So what would you guys rather see from this game that we don't know much of? A co-op horde sci-fi shooter with aliens or a multiplayer PvP?
I would just
Honestly, I'd like to see a co-op horde-like.
I like horde games, dude. Firefight mode is my jam, so I always go to it.
Yeah.
We have too many multiplayer PvP arenas anyway.
The more I read it, the more his description sounds just like a inbred love child of Gears of War and Halo. A sci-fi space shooter with a horde mode. It's like,
well, I mean,
Gears of Halo 5.
If you like those weird incestual like gangbang title type of things, and you'll like Outer Worlds at the very least.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, we haven't even really seen much of that yet.
We saw the trailer at the Game Awards, and it's from some of the people who worked on some of the original Fallout games.
Yep. So
we know it's in good hands. It's a space exploration game in the sense that like No Man's Sky is, but there's going to be actually more action and gameplay in it rather than collecting and mining and crafting. So we got an info dump. This guy accidentally spelled it as info dumb. Poor guy. New gameplay trailer and a release date. I don't think it's coming out this year.
Yeah, I mean, considering we haven't even seen gameplay yet.
To be honest, I don't want it to be out this year. I want this to be as perfect and polished as possible before I looked at anything at it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be.
Okay, now I want to talk about this next game.
Early next year.
Chris is excited. He's the one that brought it up.
I think we're all excited for this one. Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Sorry. Screw you. Cyberpunk 2077. So we get a progress update, a new gameplay trailer, and last year's gameplay trailer was long and just insane, and a targeted date next year. I'm thinking next year.
I'm thinking spring next year. I'm thinking next April.
Could be a good date for that.
March. It is third party, so it doesn't have to follow Xbox's rules for releases, you know?
I want to say March or April specifically,
it doesn't have to be.
That gives them enough time for a big update announcement during E3.
How likely do you think this could be a holiday game, though, for this year?
I would be surprised. I would not. It's another one of those games for World. I want them to spend time on it.
I think this is a game that so many people are really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Especially, let's say there was you wrote, I forgot which one of you wrote the article that they might be bringing The Witcher to the Switch. I
That
forgot
was
if it was you, Alan, or
Sorry.
Kyle. That was you, Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay. So if they announce that, and then they announce Cyberpunk 2077, that's just huge. That's just like
Yeah.
huge.
Score one for
So I
Project
think
Red.
this would be yeah, I think this would be amazing for a spring release because they don't have to worry about anything else after the winter. Winter is when like everybody else drops their big game. This one will have so much amazing time that people will be able to enjoy it.
That's what I'm worried about because their
That's
whole
just me
thing
though.
with exploration is one of the key things. Freedom is one of the biggest drawing points of it. And they show you all these things. You could do this, or you can do that. Your decisions have weight to it. It's like, that's awesome. But what happens when you only give a certain amount of time to make this game? Some areas are not going to be available. Some locations look like they're going to be explorable, but they're not. And I don't want that to happen to this game.
Right. And not to mention, that also really bugs me. I like a concrete story. Like, I don't mind a couple different playthroughs to get like alternate endings or something like that, but I want a definitive story. That's
That's the thing, because you see, I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's a YouTuber named Nakey Jakey. He made a video that was really interesting on Rockstar diverting their way from open sandbox style mission completion versus very cinematic story-based type of missions that hold your hands. It's like, which one would you like? I feel like Cyberpunk is trying to push towards that sandbox style where you could just blow something up and you win the mission.
Yeah.
But I know there's the criticism that they'd rather should point towards a story and then have sandbox elements inside of it.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's going to be hard to please everybody because it's so high of an expectation for this game.
I mean, there's always the fact that, or the idea that they could just go with the light version of that too, where they could say, well, if you do that, then maybe more of this faction is going to be on your tail, pursuing you a little bit more. Or maybe, hey, maybe this person, it's harder to negotiate a deal with them, so you need more money. Like, that's fine. So
interesting.
Yeah, we'll find out in just a couple of weeks.
That's one of my most I'm
gonna try to get
the little star. The little.
I'm gonna try to get into that. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get into that CD Projekt Red room again this year.
Okay, we hung out with Conrad last year, so now you got the Norwegian accent down. Now you just got to go in there and be like, I'm one of you guys, and then you'll go right in. Okay, so this one's okay. Age of Empires 4 info dump gameplay revealed 2020 release. That's another really good game to add to the arsenal of Xbox. I don't know.
I've honestly not played any of the games.
Yeah,
I just never really caught my interest.
I played them growing up a lot, actually, and
I played
it's a good series. But like, when Civilization is a thing now, it's like Age of Empires. You got to do something good and unique to come
I
back.
often get them mixed up. That's what sucks.
Yeah, Sid Meier's Civilization is just such a freaking powerhouse these days. It's like, how do you top that? You know, and then you got StarCraft you got to worry about. So it's like, that's an old game that's still doing well. So.
Yeah. I understand. Now, I want to get to this one because I am a huge mark for this franchise, and we have been relegated to the corner of the world for way too long. And I am talking to my friends about Fable.
Yes.
The
Fable.
Peter Molyneux game?
Yeah, buddy. So this guy has a very long piece on this and probably justification as to why he thinks it's going to happen. So this is what he says, and I quote, "This is nothing new or a real secret at this point. Honestly, worst kept secret. This was leaked back in the end of 2017, early 2018 on Eurogamer. It was said that Playgrounds is working on an open world game, and then later speculated that it was Fable. However, it was not confirmed if it was 100% Fable, but rather just open world RPG. Some people are hoping that it is not Fable and a brand new open world RPG IP. And of course, the Fable fans do want it to be Fable. So where do you split the line on that? Do you want to see a new company work on Fable, or do you want to see it a brand new IP?
Both. I'd like to see a new company take over the reins of Fable after the backlash it has had in the past few years.
Yes.
So a reboot would be great, or a 4, but in a way that does it. But at the same time, a new IP never hurts because it gives a company a chance to go beyond what Fable could be. So for the fans like you who want to see new Fable, hey, here's a new Fable.
I'd
Oh
be
yeah,
completely
you get.
fine with
I
Fable.
mean,
Like, if it's not Fable, fine, as long as it has the elements that I like in it. That's why I think a lot of people gravitate towards the Outer Worlds with just one trailer. It's because Fallout took a fumble, and somebody's going to come in, pick it up, and score a touchdown. That's kind of just how games work
but
most of the time.
here's my question. Here's my question for you: As are you? Would you say you're a hardcore, a regular Fable fan, or just a casual fan, or hardcore? Which one are you more?
I achievement hunted Fable 2 way too many times on different
So
accounts.
you're just casual. You're just a casual. I'm joking. Okay.
Hardcore
So
fan.
are you are you excited because it's a new Fable game in name, or because this is my question for you though? Is it because it's a Fable name in a game in name, or is it because now we've got so many other games doing the same exact thing? Fable made the ability to do all these things popular, but we're seeing that more in new games. So is it just because it's a Fable game, or is it because of the possibilities it has?
That's a really good question. I think at that point, at that time when the game came out, it was really revolutionary because I remember when I played it, I was like 12 or 13 years old and it came out, and it blew my mind because no other game really lets you be a good guy or a bad guy, and there's consequences for either one of those two things. There's no place where you could buy a house, marry somebody, have a kid, and then burn the house down, and then just go back to work like nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's insane. And there's no and then my small divergent path. After you're done with the game, you're able to find a potion that'll switch your gender, and nobody knew that because the internet wasn't a thing yet. It's so stupid and wild. It was so cool. So I'm just saying, like, adventure games like that are really hard to come by these days. Even still, by that standard, that game is still on top when it comes to being able to do freedom. You know, it's kind of baffles my mind that not many games are able to still do that kind of freedom, and they boast that it's the most free playing type of game.
Yeah.
So if they have anything near the hopes of Fable, look at what they did with the old games. Realize that 3 was the worst game ever made, and you sweep that under the rug, and you look at 2, and you wonder why that game is still regarded as really good.
Yeah.
There you go. My rant.
And then go play the Connect game.
And then go play Fable Legends.
Yeah, and I mean he does in this article confirm that he says he can confirm now that it is indeed a Halo or a Fable game. And then he said it's not Halo, or gosh, why do I keep on saying Halo? It's not a Fable.
Some speculate it's actually
4.
Yeah.
It's a rebrand,
But
which
it is
is
a
fine.
new beginning for
I think that'll, because the franchise is old and it's been dead for a very long
rebrand
time.
is needed.
So it's like this would be a great play. Like think about the new God of War. Like the last God of War was made so long ago that and just the revitalization of it, the rebranding, brought so many new people and allowed so many new people that haven't played the series before to and now enjoy it. And I think that's exactly what they'll be doing with Fable. Like, hey, we know you liked a lot of our old games, so here's something new that has those elements, but is something welcoming to newcomers.
You brought up Kratos, and you brought up I was going to say Gears, God of War.
Yeah.
I'd rather, because now I'm wondering, do you think they would focus on just one specific character for a Fable reboot? Or do you think they would allow more customizations? Or do you think it would just be a base male, base female type of character with customizable items?
Right.
I would rather have a fully customizable character.
Like you mentioned earlier, that's the whole appeal to Fable, is to be able to make your own
freedom
Fable. So like it's just, I think it's more of the lore will be a revamp, not necessarily the story.
The lore's fine. I think the lore is really cool. I think that was one of the better things because there's a lot of journals, there's a lot of things to read in that. There's a lot of villains and characters you really have to like read into, and it's really cool. The story could probably be a brand new story. I have no problem. It could be in a new area, a new location, new planet, whatever. But as long as the lore is there, as long as the magic's still there, freedom is still the biggest pricing point, I think it's going to do well. And it's going to be received well if it actually lands all of those check marks really well.
Yep.
So this game started development in late 2017. Sorry, and it's been in development for a little over 2 years now. It's going to be a next-gen title, so we won't see it until after at least 2021. We will see a small glimpse of the trailer this year, and we probably will see more about it in E3 2020.
I'm calling it now. It's going to be an old person with a very raspy voice in like a black screen, and then it's just going to have like some environments, and then it's going to say Fable: The Legend Returns, guaranteed.
Those exactly. The Legend Returns.
Putting money on it right now. So Fable's out.
I bet you one anime figure at Anime Expo that's not going to be what happens. If it's called anything but Fable Legends or whatever you just said, the legend.
No, it's not going to be called. I'm just saying it's going to be like something like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying something out of those is going to happen.
I was going to say that's like 1,000,000 to 1 odds. I will take that bet, sir.
Old man, raspy voice or old lady raspy voice, and then she's like, "It's been 1,000,000 years." So then,
here we go. It's going to be the old raspy voice, and then all of a sudden you're just going to hear yo. Banjo-Kazooie, Fable Town.
It's really good that you brought up Rare, because the next one is your least favorite.
No, it's not. Oh yeah, no, sorry, it is. Okay, yeah, I forget. It is made by Rare. I take that back. Sorry.
Sea of Fives.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just take the lead on this one.
Take the lead.
I obviously know what I'm talking about. There's not really much they're going to show off. They've said in their developer update last week that they're just going to be in a teasing mode. So who knows if that is even going to make it into the press conference? It might just be something that is mentioned, like on the side. But I don't think we're going to get a trailer like we got last year. I think they'll just mention like, hey, we know you've been wanting the new ship. The new ship is coming in a couple months or something like that. So
I feel like they need to introduce something that helps a little bit of the quality of game. So I can see maybe like a 30-second montage of upcoming like things that's going to happen. Maybe I would like to see backpacks. I want to see a Banjo backpack in there.
Right.
Custom.
That was my idea.
It's a really good idea because backpacks are needed. I don't know if you've ever played it at all or seen anything, Chris, but when you play the game, you could either hold like 5 bananas and then you're done, or you hold a skull and you're encumbered and you can't walk for crap. Yeah. So maybe have a backpack. You're encumbered, but now you can hold like 50 things in your backpack. I will pay for a backpack.
Right.
No, I want to see a Kazooie themed pirate ship.
They already have it.
They already got it.
Oh, okay.
Life is good again. I'm excited to see what they have to tease.
So I as far as what they'll tease,
quick question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
How long do you think this presentation on Sea of Thieves will be? Very short, a couple minutes. What do you think?
For sure. If they take up any time during the press conference at all, a minute. I think if anything, it's just a short tease because they just basically re-released their game last month. It's so much new has been added to the game that I don't think they have. I've been following a bunch of the developers on Twitter. They've been having launch parties because it was so much work and so much crunch these last couple months to get this update out.
That's interesting.
So I don't think they're going to be really ready to show anything. I think if they show anything, they'll show the model of the new ship that everybody's been asking for, 6 to 8 players, and everyone will be happy, and it'll be good. But I think that's the only thing that people really want out of E3 for Sea of Thieves is the big ship. Because right now the max players you can have on a ship is 4 players.
I need a montage of a few smaller things too. Is it Brigantine? Is that what it is?
Brigantine, the middle ship, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So you're going to have basically all these small ships, and then it's going to show the big one for scale. And then hopefully they show off some new things, maybe some variant like enemies in the water or something. Maybe a new type of Megalodon or something would be awesome.
Right.
But I don't really expect them to do something crazy. Maybe something in like plain sight. Someone's going to notice like, oh, he is wearing a backpack. That's a satchel, you know?
Right, exactly. Something like that. I could totally.
So I would hope they do something. But yeah, 1 minute tops. Guaranteed. 2 minutes tops.
Yeah, I don't think they want to do anything more because then that's just promising things that is unachievable.
Yes. They're doing good. I will say that since I've had the Xbox for a month and a half, I've been playing Sea of Thieves with Kyle almost every other night. And it's fun to an extent. You do the Athena's quest, you're pretty much done. You call it a night and you're done. That's pretty much it.
Well, and you have to, we kind of fast-tracked your progression because I'm Pirate Legend.
Yes.
You haven't really done any of like the low-level stuff, which is kind of a shame because the lifespan of your game is now shortened because you're already in the end game because you're in a crew with me.
Yeah, we call ourselves the anti-vaxxers because Chris or Kyle just kills my quality of life.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, so Sea of Thieves is great. Chris, do you want to take this one away because I know you're a big fan of this one? Another rare title.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One more thing on Sea of Thieves. Pets. Duh. They've already talked pets are coming.
Pets.
They're probably going to announce the release date for pets.
What's that in your hand, Chris?
Ho ho. A little bit of glare, but Battletoads.
Yo,
it's back,
finally
baby.
get it. I've been
Oh
waiting for that.
yes, I know. We got to see. Well, we only got to see a title last year, but we
Yes.
actually get to see
we
more
saw
about this
Tongue,
game.
too.
So I'm excited.
I want to see the ship level. I want to see the ship level.
We do know Rare's not working on it. It's actually going to be another company, but you know, it'd be kind of hard to really mess up Battletoads. So yes, so
we'll see some gameplay and
yeah,
see how the game looks, plays, and feels, along with the final release target as well. Do you think it's coming out this year, or do you think it's another title from next year?
yes, I think it'll be a title that will probably be released this year because I'm not expecting it to be anything outside of an arcade game, arcade beat 'em up.
Now, we're all savvy with our money. We
Uh,
don't care about price points and stuff. How much do you think this should be labeled, like price-wise?
It honestly depends on the game itself. Are we gonna get just maybe a remake of the original Battletoads? Then I'm probably looking at you're looking at maybe like $30. If you're looking at a brand new game with more levels, new abilities, all that stuff, I could see $40-$50. But it just really comes down to how big this game's going to be.
Yes.
Because as much as I want this to be a brand new massive title, I'm also worried it's just going to be like an HD upgrade remake of the original Battletoads or the arcade one.
The reason why is it's kind of unheard of when like a returning legendary franchise like this gets like a big AAA, like imagine like Battletoads, and you're like, hey, guess what? You're going to be able to do open world stage selections and stuff like that. You're able to walk straight into locations. It's basically ukulele. That doesn't really happen with returning IPs and stuff like that. They kind of just stick to the hits, you know? So the more I think about it, I want it to be a new type of game. Kind of like I want it to be a remixed Sonic Mania in a sense. Sonic Mania did it perfectly.
That'd be kind of cool.
They had some levels. It doesn't need to be original 2D pixel ones. I'd rather have it in 3D, which most likely we are. But at the same time,
if it's like the arcade game, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the arcade game was one of the best ones, honestly. It looked visually good. It looked better than the Super Nintendo, even the NES version.
Yeah.
An upgrade of that one would be cool.
I just want to see the big boot. I just want to see the big boot. Big boot in 3D. That's all I want. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, well, hopefully get something very soon. Maybe a holiday release date would be kind of cool for that.
Yeah.
With 4-player online multiplayer or something like that.
Yeah. I can see it easily being a I don't want to say discounted game, but a $40, $50 game. I can see that being something that they can release this holiday. Be like, hey, we got this game coming out, but we also got this one for a special deal, like family multiplayer. Here we go. You know?
That's sort of the end of the games section right there. But I wanted to mention, do you think these are going to hold people off until the next generation? Do you think this is a good list of games? It doesn't have to specifically be out, but just to have people look forward for the next year and a half. Because we've had issues where like specifically Nintendo Switch had really crazy droughts in terms of big games per month for the last year. And a lot of people have been vocal about that kind of situation. And I know Xbox has had that situation for a good while now. Do you think?
I think Xbox will be stronger. I think Xbox will be stronger this year, and then I think we'll get Kyle's word because he's the bigger Xbox fan than me. But it has a good start. Having a name like Gears, having a name like Halo, will keep people interested. Seeing all this, the fact that they own so many studios and probably are adding more studios gets people excited because now they know there are more titles coming out. The biggest problem with Nintendo is all of their titles come from practically in-house. I mean, they do have a couple of companies that do titles for them exclusively, but it's not as big as what Microsoft can do. Sony has a bigger outreach than Nintendo because they're working with so many different studios. Microsoft kind of failed on that aspect. They kind of failed on that aspect in the last 2 years, and that's one of the biggest things where I think now they're showing, well, you know, we understand what we're doing. Maybe we put a little too much more focus on the Xbox One X than we needed to because now we have all these titles coming out. And those will be taking advantage of the system, but you wanted the games more than the system.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like that's what Xbox really has to prove right now is that we want games. You know, they've released 2 consoles in the last 4 years. We want games.
The back and forth thing. That's the thing. Whenever one console shows weakness, the other takes advantage, and that's usually the one that kind of blows the other out of the water. Look at the Xbox 360. That thing sold gangbusters, and then the next generation Xboxes pales in comparison to the PlayStation 4 at all. Like, it's not. You can't even sell units in Japan. It's crazy. So, you look at it this year, you're going to have news on the PS5. You already got ideas of the specs, and then you got Xbox showing off their specs, but they also have other prospects like the Xbox Cloud, the xCloud.
Yeah.
So, in this one, because coincidentally that's the next thing to talk about, info dump, public test dates, rollouts. This will be Microsoft's one of the biggest, if not the biggest focus this year prior to the next-gen system console. Or it launches. This is where we will be helping them get ready for a solid year or so before new systems get out in the wild.
Yeah.
Now, that's kind of a big deal.
Right. I think it says public trials, and they talked about public trials coming this year. I think their rollout plan is that their public trials are going to start this year, and then it's going to officially launch with their new consoles.
So, Kyle, let's pretend for a second I'm stupid.
See if you on the Switch in my bed is what I want.
xCloud, what does that particularly mean?
Say that again. Sorry, you cut out for a little bit.
What does Xbox xCloud particularly mean? What's the benefits of having xCloud according to Xbox?
xCloud is the idea of being able to take your Xbox anywhere and play any game at any time. They've even said they're going to be supporting third-party games, so it doesn't have to be an Xbox exclusive title. Phil Spencer, he's playing Destiny 2 on his phone from his Xbox halfway across the world. So he said the developers have to do nothing. It's just going to be using the cloud. It'll be using your save data that's stored on the cloud on Xbox, on your phone, on your Switch, probably on the PlayStation.
So I'm sorry, I'm going to try to get deep on this and ask it. So you're saying the Xbox links up to the cloud, and then it goes all the way to where you are, whatever you're connected to the Wi-Fi. You connect your Xbox, and then your Xbox is basically streaming the game to you.
So your Xbox is doing no work. So they're making these. I believe the term they used was render farms. Where there's just, and they showed pictures. There's just thousands and thousands of Xbox unit internals stacked on top of each other. So a server essentially, where you log into your account through the server. So all your save data, all of your stuff is there. You don't have to be connected to your Xbox at home. Your Xbox doesn't have to power on. You connect to all your data over the cloud, and it streams to your device. So like right now, I could be playing Sea of Thieves while talking to you. I mean, I could be doing
on his phone,
on my desk,
on his phone or on his tablet. Yeah,
right, exactly.
So just having a good internet is going to be the most important part to it. So it's going to be great. At the same time, it's probably going to be limited for, unfortunately, like people who live in, like, let's say
third world countries,
southern mid. I'm not even going to say that because internet's not strong in like the middle of the United States for most states.
Yeah, Arkansas, Ohio, not Ohio, Utah. Look at Kyle's
because the rest of the world, the rest of the world has amazing internet for the most part. We, because of the way our internet infrastructure's out here, it's not the greatest unless you live anywhere near like, let's say, Google fiber optics or like so many of those different ones.
Yeah, if you win the
so it's going to be great.
Right, and our chat is talking about right now about latency and lag issues. They said that's their biggest problem. That the hardware is there, and the work is done. They just have to focus on that. So as soon as they get that down, I'm sure it'll be great. Because like we already deal with latency from a controller to a console already. So adding another component on that it's probably really tough. And I don't know how they're going to do it, but take a look at some Assassin's Creed Odyssey being played on Google Chrome. Like that's pretty low latency and it's achievable. So they just have to implement.
What is it? Google's was it Stellia? This is what Google Stellia roughly. I forgot the exact name for it, but
it is. It's
what that is. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
Same concept.
And if there's two companies in the world a third, but Apple isn't going to do anything about it, potentially. But if there's two companies that can do it, it's Microsoft and it's Google. Like those two companies.
Well, don't forget, Microsoft isn't in this by themselves anymore.
Nope.
Their partnership.
Right. So they have Nintendo and they have PlayStation being supported through their Azure infrastructure.
No, but I mean Sony is working with Nintendo on. I'm not Nintendo on Microsoft with all of these things, which includes cloud.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have Sony's backing to help them with this.
I think
that means xCloud can be better, faster.
I think they do realize that the Google does pose a potential threat, especially with how they glamorized it with their conference a few months ago. It's not always going to be that experience. They might say it's always going to be that experience, but there's always going to be issues to it. There's always going to be issues at launch, and it's kind of burned people out from the idea of cloud. And then when they look at Xbox and they go, hey, I really want to sign up for this because I could play on all these things, but Google burnt me out, or maybe I really like Google and I don't want to go anywhere else with it. So it's really interesting to see all the I want to say little guys, the other companies for consoles going against somebody who's new to the console game.
Right, and I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfect reason why they're going to be doing the public trials this year, so they can say, "Hey, we're still working." It's like the beta, it's available. We have the product, but if you notice latency issues, it's because we're in beta. We're still ironing out kinks. That way, they can set the goal and they can get the massive public trials and collect the data on what they need to do. And then by the time the next Xbox comes around, they have a full launch with that.
Yeah,
well, this is also to see the stress of their servers, because you remember Sony did something similar with the PlayStation Now when they rolled that out. I mean, it was a mess. It's still somewhat of a mess.
It is the worst service I have ever used and everything. But
I'm not going to say it's the worst service, because I actually did like the service. I was there for a while because they had so many games to play.
I liked it, but it was so awful when it had to load in things or run.
If you played at nighttime, you were fine. If you played anytime during the day, then you're probably gonna be getting issues.
Yeah, or if you're playing any sort of Sonic game, you're not playing any sort of Sonic game. Sorry, buddy. You're playing Rockstar Gym or some stupid thing where it's just slow as heck. That's not Sonic. That's Slonic.
So that kind of leads us into our next topic with the next console for Xbox being the Lockhart and the Anaconda. And
I wonder why they call it Lockhart. I'm interested in that part.
Gilderoy Lockhart is a Harry Potter character from.
I remember.
Actually, I was gonna say Final Fantasy VII confirmed.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Lockhart.
Dang, that was a good one. That you reached for that one. I like that.
Yeah, but Kyle, go ahead. This is yours.
I remember they said something about why the reference or the significance about Lockhart, but then again, the Xbox One X was called the Scorpio. The other one's called Anaconda. Why name it after animals? It's like why. But I believe the Lockhart is what the Xbox SAT edition, or maybe it's the less powerful. I believe the SAT edition was leading up to this, where it's an all digital box that, it's just a machine for your xCloud. It's just a machine for your xCloud connectivity if you don't have another one. But I think the true console that they'll be pushing is the Anaconda, the one with 120 frames, 4K performance,
8K full.
Yeah. So that's going to be the premier system. Think about the difference between just your Xbox Now and a Chrome stick. One connects you to some games while the other one actually plays them. And I think that's what the difference is between those consoles. But again, that's not confirmed. That's just some speculation on our part.
It's going to be interesting. I like the idea of two different consoles for two different type of gamers. You got the hardcore fans getting the Anaconda, obviously, so they can play it in Ultra HD, so they can play it in 8K. And then you get the Lockhart for people that can't really afford I don't even know how much the console is probably going to be. What would you say the price would be for these?
I don't think they'll go above 500. We've learned from.
I would say, yeah. I think the Anaconda is probably going to be 500, and then the Lockhart's going to be 400.
But I'll tell you what, it might be $500, but it'll come with a game. They're not going to do a 1X again. I don't think.
Sega Saturn, just no Sega Saturn, please. Or is it Sega Saturn or PlayStation? It was PlayStation 1.
No, the Saturn was the expensive one.
Saturn was the expensive one. Sorry.
PlayStation 1 came out cheaper.
Yeah, and they came out and they went $299, and then they left.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. I want to see what the price difference are going to do, especially after the debacle, I guess that was the Xbox One Sat Edition,
Right.
Yeah.
because they fail that mark. They test so bad because hey, you can buy an Xbox One S for $299, or you can buy the all digital edition for $299.
Yeah. Well, and
When
what's
you could
funny-
buy the Xbox One S a little cheaper at that point too on sale.
Yeah, the
Right.
Xbox One S used at GameStop's like what, $240?
yeah.
You could buy one with like Fallout for like $239 or something like that.
Right.
There was just like some really bad.
They're bundling in Forza Horizon 3, not 4 for some unknown reason. Minecraft and
They need to
CFP.
sell that game, baby.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. What's funny is that the more I looked into this more today, because I was actually curious to see if it had already gone down in price or not. It
Nope.
hasn't. But a lot of the retailers have bumped up the price back to the suggested retail price for the Xbox One S. So a lot of retailers where they were selling the One S for $250 before are now selling it for $300 because the SAT edition is $250. So it's really interesting how they did that. The only retailer I found that actually knocked down the price of the One S and the One S all digital was Walmart. Walmart's selling the SAT edition for like $220 right now.
Good guy Xbox or good guy.
I'm wondering if
Walmart.
it was. I was wondering if Microsoft had them raise the price, or they were just going to be like, well, we're sitting on all the digital editions. They're not moving. We
Right.
need to find a way to fix this and get rid of them.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like they could have very easily recall, like, okay, think about the 2DS problem. If you remember the 2DS with all the rebrandings and special editions, stores were sending them back because they couldn't get them off the shelves. So Nintendo did a reskin and sent them back out. I wonder if that's what's happening with the 1S, where they took out the disk drive and then just sent it back to the store. That would
Probably.
be really interesting.
Because it really is just the I already saw a bunch of videos, and the only thing is missing is, like you said, the optical drive, where it still has all the cables from it.
It's not
Yeah.
reorganized or anything. It's literally they just took out their entire disk drive in there, and it's just a missing sad hole of an area. So
Right.
now the console's lopsided.
Right. And really the biggest selling point is the 4K Blu-ray drive on the 1S.
Yep.
Why take that away? I don't know. I really don't know.
Like I said, if they would have just taken that out, they should have just dropped it $50 in the first place.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I think what really screwed this idea or this test trial for this console idea, what really screwed it over was the retailers that had taken down the price of the 1S, because Microsoft had in mind, like, yeah, we're going to sell this for $250, the 1S for $300, and it'll be good. But the market value for the 1S has already gone down so much that it was already at that price that they wanted the all digital to be released at. So I think a lot of that has to do with just Microsoft not understanding that market decrease, which is weird because you think they would be at least aware of that.
You would expect them to be, because a lot of these retailers can't just knock down the price without sometimes discussions, because then they can get in trouble for it.
Right.
But then at times they're just sitting on tons of stock and they're just trying to burn through that stuff because it's just taking up space in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
Yeah. Well, that about covers the list.
Well, the rest of it's more speculation and ideas. And I was going to, instead of covering the entire 500 paragraphs left, I wanted to ask your guys' predictions, because we didn't do that last episode. So I wanted to ask, prediction-wise, what do you want to see out of the conference? Like, I know we've already covered some things like Dino Crisis and stuff like that last week. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think we're going to see a new Banjo? Do you think we're going to see something surprising us?
So yeah, one of those rumors is a next-gen Rare IP. And I know Kyle wants to talk about his want for that.
Oh, same. I'm on the same boat with Kyle, actually.
Yeah.
Rare is by far my favorite studio. I mean,
Gahyuk?
Like from Banjo to Kazooie to Sea of Thieves, like they just make bangers, you know. Yeah. So I want to see, like, it's really tough because he doesn't mention Banjo in this leak. He mentions a new IP. Which is great. Like, I'm really glad Rare gets to make these new IPs after their Connect crisis. But dang, like, they got to at least outsource a new Banjo. Everybody,
don't understand how it's almost borderline ignorance now. By at this point, like self-made ignorance. Like we don't care. It feels like it's non-care. Like they're ignoring us at this point. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, they're or what's I don't even know what the phrase is. They're marginalizing their fans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, these guys. They always say banjo all the time. It doesn't matter. There are more than 5 people that than what they think. They're all. Huh?
See, I would like to see a new banjo. That I won't deny that, but I'm kind of more wanting a new Conkers. I'd rather see.
Do I have a solution for you? I think Alan and I talk about this almost every night we play Sea of Thieves, but we both think that what's going to happen is a rare replay switch.
Rare replay deluxe.
Right.
Rare replay deluxe. Now, what they're going to do here, I'm going to.
All the Nintendo 64 games from Rare that wasn't on Rare Replay for Xbox.
Hold on, though, big fella.
We're talking GoldenEye.
There is a cost, though.
I don't think they can get GoldenEye. Honestly, I don't think they can get GoldenEye.
Perfect Dark, though, would definitely be there.
Perfect Dark, yes.
Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark Original and Perfect Dark Zero. And the thing I'm saying is the sacrifice to have Star Fox Adventures, what is it? Some other rare titles like Diddy Kong Racing,
Donkey Kong 64.
Donkey Kong 64 is just
so we can get that Donkey Kong rap.
Yeah, we get the DK rap, but it would cost probably the Xbox titles, which I wouldn't really mind because we're only really missing Grab by the Ghoulies, Perfect Dark Zero, Viva Pinata, which
we can also get the Game Boy Advance games.
Nuts and Bolts.
Game Boy Advance, yeah. So there's multiple things in there that we sacrifice, but I still think the package itself is more than worth it because you have
NES games, 64 games.
64 editions already add so much value.
Super Nintendo games, yeah.
Like just putting over the DS version of Diddy Kong Racing would be fine, they have
that kind of be difficult.
That's the thing. Nintendo has worked with Microsoft before to release these old games.
No, but I mean, porting a DS game. Porting a DS game would require them to remake the game.
More along the lines of assets.
You guys are forgetting the Donkey Kong Country series as well. So
I said Super.
Yeah, you said Super, but I completely forgot it was Donkey Kong Country. Hopefully 2. Donkey Kong Country 2 is the best one, but that's just me. It's fine.
We'll just call it Donkey Kong Rare Replay.
It'd be called DK Deluxe. The DK Collection.
Funky Kong is one banjo game.
Featuring banjo from Devil May
from Kazooie May Cry.
Kazooie May Cry. That's good. But yeah,
we do know that, and I know you mentioned this in the last one, Alan, that they're inviting First Four Figures, and they have released a they're releasing a Conker statue, banjo statue, so they've done quite a bit with them for the Rare side.
It's really interesting to see them come in because I feel like I want to believe they're bringing them there for a reason, but I also want to think that they're going to announce maybe some Sea of Thieves statues or probably work even closer with Rare for some new things.
A Battletoad statue.
The Sea of Thieves statue of the Pirate Lord or the Gold Hoarder, I just might as well sell my house. Like,
you live on the streets, you live in the car, it's fine, you know where you are.
But he carries it everywhere.
I have become the Gold Hoarder.
On his dashboard.
I'm a huge First Four Figure fan, collector, and man, those things are very pricey depending on which one you get.
Yes, so
I've got like 8 of them. I've got 10. Lied.
Because where are they located? Where is First Four Figures?
They're in China. I forgot where. Hong Kong. They're Hong Kong.
They're inviting these guys from Hong Kong, all the way from Hong Kong for what? The first time, like personally invited to.
Well, First Four Figures has been since they've been around for years now, and nobody really knew about them. So some of their statues are pretty pricey. Like if you get the Zelda one, some of them can hit up a couple grand.
Right.
But now they've been promoting themselves quite a bit more, and people have gotten to know them. Buying their figures is really rare and expensive, hard to get. So they've been going to more events. They've been going to more conventions and showing it off.
Well, I just want to quickly interject that they were at least present last year at both Capcom's booth, or sorry, not Capcom, Bandai Namco's booth and Bethesda's booth. They had First Four Figures.
Interesting.
Yeah. They've been at Capcom because they had, I think it was like 2 years ago when they had the Okami statue.
right?
That's
It's there
right.
too. They've at least been there before, but the creators themselves are going to be there this time, right?
Yeah, that's very
The not the creator, but like the main founder of the company.
Okay,
That's
cool.
gonna be really interesting to
That's
keep
more
an
of a
eye on.
question to make sure I
Yeah.
could understand.
Good updates. I like that. Any other games that you think? Banjo we've covered. Cool. We've got the potential of another Perfect Dark game in the map somewhere, which seems very weird. I think that's a very weird dark horse when it comes to the rumors.
Yeah, I just want something that is comparable to. Okay, maybe not comparable, but something to revitalize a lot of faith in Xbox's ability to make new games. I'm
I
seeing.
wouldn't say diverse
Well,
portfolio.
Well, I mean, look at what we've talked about so far today. It's all sequels and relaunches, and
Remakes.
and while I love that, while we love these franchises, come on, like Bleeding Edge is the only one that was a new game or a new franchise.
Yes.
So they have to be showing off at least another one, right? I mean,
I think Fable would be a good welcome back kind of, you know what I mean? Basically a welcome to return.
but still that's satisfying my craving, but not curing my hunger. You know,
you don't need to have something that disrupts the portfolio, but at the same time, you need something to diversify it because you got all these games. They're all, well-known IPs from decades from now. You know what I mean? Already years of experience. People already have, good faith with them. If not, they don't know if it's going to be good or not. So you get the games like Bleeding Edge and stuff like that, the Outer Worlds. You get these new ones that disrupt the flow of, okay, so this is a new one I have to invest my time, experiment with. But I feel like we're missing, like, I won't say platformers particularly, but I feel like there's missing a little specific edge element,
Mm-hmm.
So there needs to be one little touch. They had Super Lucky's Tale, which is really cool from last year or 2 years ago.
It's a shame that it was a re-release of a Oculus game. So
Yeah.
They could have done something more with that.
We do have the Fox game Tunic coming. And I'm really hoping that one knocks it out of the park. It's supposed to be a top-down, Link to the Past type of style game, but with very, very beautiful graphics. They showed that off last year at E3. Hopefully we get a release date or at least, a window. It might already have a date, but I just want to see more of it.
You mean the Tunic?
My boy right here. See, the carnival strikes again.
Dude, I played that every year at PAX for the last 3 years, and I can tell you it's an amazing game.
Yes, I'm excited about it. It's got the same excitement I have that when I first heard about Ori and the Blind Forest.
And they did mention it at last year E3. I'm so glad you brought that up.
They had a trailer right before Jump Force.
Really knocked the socks off of the party,
Yes. It was a dark horse, and hopefully this year they take the horse straight to the finish line.
It's just a shame it's only one guy working on it, so who knows when it's coming out.
That's crazy. One guy?
Yeah.
It looks gorgeous. One person doing it is insane.
On it for like 7 years.
Okay.
So
let's hope it comes out in the next 7 years then.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into sorry. Well, let's wrap this up pretty quick. But there's also the talks about more studios Microsoft is interested in buying.
Yes.
So we have IO Interactive. I'm not too familiar with them, but rumors floated about this last year. Then there's also Relic Entertainment. Those are the guys that once making Age of Empires 4. Asobo.
IO Interactive is the team behind the new Hitman games.
Oh, right. Yeah, they were the ones that got dropped off by Warner Brothers.
That works. Hitman definitely got a really big popularity boost due to its last few games and online Let's Players. So
I think the biggest problem for that was the whole episodic part.
Oh, dude, yeah. But a lot of people really liked it. I'm glad because it's really fun when you have all of the episodes.
Let's see. Other rumored companies are Bluepoint, which would be a massive surprise.
That's really good for the platforming fans.
Yeah, but Bluepoint, I think they work with Sony too much that they wouldn't want to leave, especially with them having worked on some really great titles.
Yes.
Those were the guys that did the Shadow Colossus remaster. And they did an amazing job with that.
Yes.
There's talks about Platinum Games, which I can't see happening either.
That's a home run of a purchase right there. Like, That's a Fox move when it comes to third-party studios.
Well, there was a whole the scale-bound thing, and according to the NeoGAF post, this is a very complicated situation. So, for what actually happened was Platinum Games was busy working on 3 other titles at the same time as scale-bound, and because of that, they ended up failing and missing their deadlines, which did not make meet Microsoft's expectations to meet deadlines and technical levels. So they let the contract end and let them go. But now it looks like Microsoft wants to pick them up. And yeah, what do you guys think about that? I think Platinum Games would not want to be bought by Microsoft and be locked
Yeah.
into that.
That's tough, especially if that experience does happen where you accidentally got the ban hammer from Microsoft on a game. I feel like I would be resentful, at least when it comes to taking an offer.
Mhm.
But
Well,
Platinum,
how would that hurt? How would that hurt that Platinum Games more in the long run? They're making the new game for Nintendo Switch.
I think being
They
purchased by a company in general kind of seems like a restrictive move. Like you're losing your soul to sell to a company. And Xbox has done a really good job making it not sound like that. They say we purchase a company because we appreciate their artistic vision and we appreciate their uniquity. That it adds to the team. Cool, I like that. But Platinum has always been this kind of thing, at least in my mind, as something that's like an independent studio that makes very nice art kind of games, as well as I just feel like the games are different experiences compared to other third parties.
Yeah, but that would like limit themselves so much because a lot of their
Yeah.
games have been working on titles from other companies. So,
Yeah.
they did an amazing job with Nier.
Yes,
And that's a Square
heartbroken.
Enix. So how would that kind of limit it? Because Sony wanted it. I mean, not Sony. Square Enix wanted it to be a multi-platform.
Yes.
Let's see. They've done. I'm trying to think of another great title they've done recently on top of Nier. My brain just kind of farted. But how would that affect Bayonetta? Because I know they own Bayonetta personally, but Nintendo's the one that's paying for Bayonetta 3 to be made.
Yes.
When nobody else kind of would pick it up. When Sega dropped it, they could have marketed it to Sony or Microsoft, but it's a Nintendo who ended up going, okay, you know what? We want Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Wii U. Now we want it on the Switch. Now we want Bayonetta 3. Here's money. Give it to us.
It's just kind of weird that the catalog that Platinum has. I mean, they freaking made Star Fox Zero, so it's like there's so many options of where they can go with that. I mean, they're kind of what's the
hit or miss. I guess they always miss, huh?
Yeah, they're all over the place. They're unpredictable in that sense.
I kind of want to say Star Fox Zero mainly failed because of Miyamoto. Like, not to be mean, but he's the one that. Well, Nintendo's the one that forced down the using the Wii U control pad for that. So if it didn't have that, the game wouldn't be crapped on as much as it has.
No, see, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that. Yeah, sorry, Alan, go ahead.
The forced use of a lot of features that really don't tie in well. So you have like all those different types of missions and stuff. You have the little tiny character that you just walk into the little locations and stuff. That is so disjointed from the rest of the game. We don't play Star Fox for that stupid on foot crap. Sometimes we do. Sometimes it works.
To cream Alan with my high score.
You mother. You know what?
So he can reset the game because he's
swinging on it. Whatever. Every day, I get it. But Star Fox Zero had no actual like solid momentum. It always hit itself in the wall.
See, but the game itself was good. Like, it wasn't great.
Cool.
It wasn't terrible. It was the motion controls that just destroyed everything about that game.
The different ways you have to finish missions where they don't really require the ship. I even hated the chicken R-wing, to be honest. I could see why it was scrapped.
I agree with you, but I loved the idea.
Yeah, I love the idea. It's good on paper, bad in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So that game mostly failed thanks to Nintendo, in my opinion, rather than Platinum. But Platinum has been pretty solid. Like, I can say Metal Gear Solid Revengeance wasn't amazing, but the ideas
is so cult hit now.
But the idea of what the game brought was great, and that's something Kojima, Platinum Games, and I should say Kojima Studios and Platinum Games brought together. And the only reason Kojima went to Platinum Games is because originally he wanted his team to make a new game, but they couldn't come up with anything, so he ended up going to Platinum.
They'd made a good game then. Revengeance is still really fun to come back to after a while. So Platinum did a good one on that one. Good
and
job.
this is a team that was behind Clover Studios.
Yeah.
So these are the guys that brought us Beautiful Joe, Okami, all these different things, and now it's just like I want them to stay a company that will work with everybody. You know, if Microsoft wants games from them, have them make games, but do not buy them. And then the last game is 4A Games, a Russian-Ukrainian developer of the ever-loving Metro franchise.
Ooh, the Metro guys? That's an interesting purchase. Not surprising, though, because they showed off the gameplay for the last Metro game at the Xbox conference, and it got a pretty good pop. So I could see them being very into the idea of purchasing 4A.
Which is also an Epic Games Store exclusive.
Oh, oh my God, they dropped this. And then I bring up the clown license.
Yeah. So we'll see. I imagine Microsoft will try to announce anywhere between like 3 to 6 studios this year.
That'd be interesting. It's crazy that they make that a big pricing point. Like, not pricing point. They make that a big point to advertise. Like, we just bought out 7 different companies. And then they show it off on the screens. Like, look at these silly guys. They are owned by me.
We'll have to wait and see, because I don't know how I feel so much about them buying studios rather than working with studios, because I kind of feels it limits those studios, in my opinion.
Well, I don't like deadlines. As an artist and a commissionist, all that stuff.
Get to work. Finish our stuff now.
You have until April 13th to finish it. If you don't finish, we're going to give you the first cross, and we're going to lower your budget by then. And then you
have May 28th, okay, Alan? You have May 28th.
May 28th to do it. Or we're going to kill Kyle in his sleep, and we're going to, for every day you don't do it, we're going to chop him up even more and send you more snaps of it.
Yeah, but sorry, what do you think, Kyle? I know you're all for Microsoft.
You can't think of it. He's dead. He's chopped up.
I mean, like,
do you feel this kind of limits them?
Yeah, like Xbox wants to own the world now. They're tired of getting dogged on.
So they're trying to be Disney.
They're just going to keep buying the gaming world. Like,
you don't think they're going to try to buy Disney down the line?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, not Disney. They're not going to. I'm talking about just gaming, not the movie. Disney, it has the movie space and the TV space. Xbox is going for the throat of gaming because they got their hands in the pockets of PlayStation. They're about to have their hands in the pockets of the Switch with xCloud, and already with a lot of games that they're releasing on the Switch. So, like, they're about to become the undisputed powerhouse when it comes to at least the availability of games.
Yeah. I think, and it's crazy because it's only got like 1/3 of the sales of the PlayStation 4 lifetime sales, basically. But it's such a good console. It's not like, oh my God, they're evil, they're doing all this stuff. It's because the console is genuinely pretty good. The only thing that's lackluster has been its upcoming games, its big droughts of games, in which it compensates with that with Game Pass. It comes with backwards compatibility. It's got all these good ideas. Sure, they flop the consoles.
Like, it's the same, and that's the thing. It's like when you're owned by the company that makes your PC, there's not much of a worry there because you're always going to have a platform.
Yes, and soon enough, Xbox is going to make sure that your platform is literally anywhere.
Yep,
that's crazy.
But this is just something that I've talked with some other people. Doesn't this kind of seem familiar to another company that's bought out companies and hasn't used them? Well, I mean, Microsoft will use them better than this company I'm about to talk about. But it kind of seems a little similar to EA, where they're just buying out companies, using all their different IPs that they've created over the years. And, it just seems a little odd because I feel this limits them quite a bit because now they have to kind of conform to what Microsoft wants them to do.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's always going to be, with a purchase, there's going to be a middleman created because of that. Now you got to go through some random guy on a computer at all times, like his job's at a desk, making sure, like, breathing down your neck the entire time. It adds some sort of, like, it adds fatigue to you if you have somebody breathing down your neck when you're doing something like drawing, when it comes to making games or any designing or any sort of stuff like that, even just writing. Having somebody breathing down your neck telling you have until this time to get this done, this is your budget of how much we could push you to go for, and we need it done by this point. It is not good. And as long as Xbox try to keep that cheery demeanor where they're just like, oh yeah, of course, we love our indies. We're all good here. We're friends. Wink, wink. You know, no, but really, if they do good and they make them happy, then I'm happy, and the games will be happy.
I don't think games have feelings.
Games have feelings. I talk to them every night.
Are you sad there hasn't been a new Conquer game in a while, Conquer?
Oh my goodness.
Not saying anything.
Speaking of which, did you see this is the last thing we're going to talk about. It's a little tangent. The rumor, or not rumor, but the actual whole concept book for Conquer 2.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was
the canceled
so good.
title.
Yeah, Conquer is another bad fur day or whatever it was.
Yeah. If they do that, that would be kind of cool. Like, just, hey, you know what? We had this great thing. Let's just do it now.
Go look at it. If you guys haven't checked it out, one of the creators, one of the guys that was in charge of making the game back then, they basically dropped the entire spreadsheet set of all the concepts, the story layout, how each chapter would play out, how the characters would look, how the characters would feel and play, what would happen with Bunny, what would happen with everybody else. It's crazy. So if you want to check that out and you like Conquer, go check it out because it's really cool, and we would love to see that down the road.
Well, with that, this wraps up our Microsoft Center focused E3 thingy because
E3 special prediction series.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. So that wraps that up. Next week will be Nintendo. Well, will we be joined by Mr. Joey Ferris, who was supposed to be here today. Now, where can we find you, gentlemen? Kyle?
Well, you can find me on all social media platforms under Vanilla Soup or Super Gaming, whichever you prefer. You'll get the SEO score will be the same. I'm relaunching my channel here very soon, so stay tuned.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Alan?
You can find me everywhere, including Patreon now. Ooh, at Alonzo Mega, AlanzoMega, Alonzo Mega, an NSFW artist you can trust.
Hire this man.
I have a question. Are you going to live stream the Sword and Shield Direct tomorrow?
Is it tomorrow?
Alan? I mean, sorry, on June 5th? Sorry, not tomorrow.
It depends on what day that is. I think it's 6 p.m., right?
Kyle, do you remember what time?
It's
6 p.m.
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
It's 6 p.m. on June 5th. I don't know exactly what day that is. Let's see. June 5th is a Wednesday, so I don't think I can, unfortunately, but we will see just in case. Check out our Facebook group at Nuke Bridge Gaming on Facebook for updates.
Pacific.
6 p.m. Pacific?
A.M.
6 a.m.?
Yep.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I'll wake up for that.
So
okay, cool.
You have to remember this is being broadcast from Japan, so they're trying to get both markets.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can find me. You can find me at Nuke to Chris on social media. You can find all of our written work at nuketofridge.com. Make sure if you guys like, share, and subscribe so we can do more of these podcasts and a bunch of other things. So we've got a lot of things coming. E3 is right around the corner, so that's going to drive me kind of crazy.
Anime Expo is a month from now.
We will have an anime podcast at it's probably during Anime Expo. We've got a lot of things lined up over the next.
Get ready to hear about
2 months. I'm gonna be going nuts.
Get ready to hear about nothing but JoJo after E3 for the next month, and then Kyle going, ugh. So this should be fun. But
if you like JoJo, you're a piss poor anime.
Don't. Other than that, this was episode 90 of the Gaming Podcast. Thank you so much.
I'll kill you after this, Kyle.
If you guys haven't followed us yet, we're at Nuke the Fridge Gaming on Twitter, Facebook, and here on YouTube. Don't forget to give us a like and sub, and we will see you next week for episode 91, the Nintendo episode. Bye-bye.
Thwip.
Yay!